Hello, everybody. On behalf of DogSpot, I welcome all of you to this session on Beagles. My name is Shharat Sharma. I'm licensed by the Kennel Club of India to judge. And more than that, I've had dogs for 4 decades or more, and lots of Beagles. So this is a breed that is close to my heart, and I look forward to this session with all of you, where I get to tell you what I feel about the breed and answer some of your questions and address some of your queries. So we have a bit of a structure which we are going to follow, but there's nothing so rigid about the structure, in the sense that if any of you feel that there's a topic of your interest which we have missed, send us a question, we'll go back to it immediately. Having said that, basically the structure is going to be the origin, a bit of introduction of the breed, some temperament issues, the appearance, health issues, training issues, some of the famous Beagles, and general talk on how good this can be as a family pet. So the idea of the session is to address the concerns of pet parents who are taking a choice between keeping a Beagle or any other breed, and also some questions of the breed fanciers from all over the world. So thank you for being with me. Stay with us and let me start. I don't know if most of you, I'm sure, would have heard of this ancient Greek historian Xenophon. We are talking about 420 BC. And he was a historian and a sportsperson and a soldier. And it is in his memoirs that we find mention of sighthounds. He says that there were sighthounds in ancient Greece the size of the present-day beagle, but predominantly white. So people who think of the origin of beagles have to set their mind to about 2,500 years ago. That's how ancient the breed is. It's very easy for me to say that it's one of the most historically documented, some pictures, some paintings from amongst the sighthounds. So over the years, the Greek passion for hunting passed on to the Romans, and there is a lot of reference in Roman literature of sighthounds of the size of a beagle. The English, of course, like they do in everything else, say that even before the Greeks and the Romans, there were sighthounds in England of approximately the same appearance. So, without having any bias towards a particular country, let's say that the origin of the beagle is obscure. One can't point a finger to say that the beagle is here, started here, and it started on this date. So it's a very old breed. Now, fast forward to sometime around the 17th to the 18th century, when the present-day beagle started to take shape. Now, let's look at this carefully. Beagles are basically hounds. Hounds are those dogs that are used for hunting by sight, that is, they see the prey, or by scent, that is, they smell the prey. The beagle is the smaller variety, and it belongs to the family of what we classify as scent hounds. Now, this reminds me of a very interesting thing. Scent hounds. The English would claim that it's the foxhound that was the ancestor of the beagle. And if you look at the English Club Standard, it says that it derived the beagle from the foxhound. Turn to the other standard and they say that actually the foxhound was used. The foxhound is a product of the beagle. So this contributes more to the ambiguity about the origin. Whether the foxhound was its ancestor or the foxhound came out of the beagle is not known, but the fact is that there is a bit of a foxhound in the beagle. Now that helps. How does it help? It helps because beagles are hunters, and there are two sizes. The larger scent hound, which was called in medieval times the buckhound. Buck as in B-U-C-K, which is another word for deer. And the larger one was used to hunt deer. The smaller one was used to hunt hare, rabbit, the white rabbit. And it is for the first time then that the French word Beagle, B-E-G-L-E, Beagle, was used to describe this smaller hound used to hunt the hare. And it is from the French word Beagle that we have now moved to the word Beagle. So that is what basically is the origin. The purpose for which the breed was bred continues to be the same. It was bred to hunt in packs. It's a delight for the privileged in Europe and in the States and in England to watch beagles in packs hunting hare. Now, I've always believed that a dog, the primary words that we must keep in mind when we are discussing a particular breed are form and function. So if a dog was bred for hunting, it must be temperamentally, structurally, training-wise, suited to be a hunter. And that is what we are going to discuss today as we move from discussing the origin to discussing the appearance. Let me use one of my models. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a beagle. This is what an ideal beagle should be. Don't go by the color. This is a clay model, so there's no color in it. Just go by the structure. We are looking at the head. These are the kind of ears. This is the kind of body. This is the kind of angle. And this is the kind of popularly called tail. Beaglers call it the stern. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about this dog as far as the appearance of beagles is concerned. That's the structure. We'll get back to this model in a while. For ease of reference and to make things, known to people, this is what the world sees when they see a beagle. So that model in color is this dog. That's the beagle. Now, yesterday, just to generate interest in what the beagle should be, and when we were getting ready to telecast this, we asked our friends a question. And we asked our friends to tell us what are the colors in which the beagle is available. We got quite a few responses. People generally said tricolor, which is black, white, and tan, and bicolor. Now, bicolor doesn't describe anything because it has a host of possibilities of colors. Let me make this a little interesting. I want to show you a picture of beagle types. I'm not sure how clear this is. So many colors of beagles. It's got a red and white. It's got a gray and white. It's got what we in dog world call blue, which is actually a little bit of gray. All these colors of beagles are legitimate and acceptable by the Kennel Club of India standards. So when we say bicolor, we are actually talking about pied. So if you go to see a puppy, the little child in the house is looking for a beagle, and you go and see a litter of beagles, don't be alarmed if they're all not tricolored. This I'm saying particularly for pet parents. Beagles can be equally good, have the same temperament, have the same qualities, and give the same love and affection regardless of the color they are in. Regardless of the color they are in, they can perform the same functions. So don't be lured only by the tricolor. All beagles, whether they are pied, whether they are blue, whether they're red and white, whether they are lemon and white, they're all equally good. I have brought in this picture to highlight that, don't trash a breeder if he's got more lemon and white puppies than he's got tricolor puppies. Because hounds can be in any color, and you cannot predict the color production from a litter in a beagle. So tricolor to tricolor will also give you a bicolor. So don't worry on that account. Appearance. What is singularly the most beautiful part of a beagle? I think the most popular answer would be the eyes. The most loving, the most benign expression amongst most of the popular breeds. It's got that dopey, loving expression, and it's just oozing love. So the most beautiful part of the beagle is its eyes. And I presume that many people who go in for beagles do so because of the expression that the puppy gives, which is good. But I want to ask all of my friends tuned in today one particular question. Why does a beagle have long ears? Why doesn't a Labrador have ears as long as a beagle? Form and function, my friends, we get back. Even for the pet parent, the length of the ear serves a particular purpose. What is the purpose? We go back to the first part where we said it's a scent hound. So it uses its nose to pick up all the scent in the area where it's walking and playing and push up that scent to find out the trail, to be a hound, to search for food, to search for its prey, etc. Now, interesting, and I find this my favorite part about the beagle head. When you see the beagle, see the length of the ear. In proportion to the head, it's a long ear. Now, when the beagle puts his head to the ground, this ear falls to the side. And as the beagle moves, it flaps the breeze, flaps the air with the help of these ears. And that flapping sends scent to its very, very sensitive and strong nose. And that is how the beagle uses these ears to be a good scent hound. The strongest amongst the scent hounds is the beagle. So therefore, pet parents and breed fanciers, do not compromise on the length of the ear. Do not go for beagles that have short ears. Do not go for beagles that have pointed ears at the end, because it's uncharacteristic. They might be still cute and they might be still as loving, but they aren't originally what the breed was bred to be. Scent hounds. So give your pet all the love and care that you want to, but do expect it to be typical of its breed. And therefore, whenever you go looking for a nice beagle, make sure it's got those lovely long ears, fine leather to the ears, and that helps it develop its characteristic. It's a medium, small sized dog. I wouldn't even call it a medium. It's a small sized dog. And over the years, it's been classified now into two sizes of 15 inches and 13 inches. I'm sure all of you know when we talk of sizes in dogs, when we say 15 inches, we are talking of ground to wither, to here. We are not talking of till here. So 15 inches is the height at the shoulder. This 13-inch, 15-inch variety is more a US contribution than it originally was in the mainland in Europe or in England, but now it has come to stay. What are we looking for? Friends, we are looking for a sturdy dog. We are looking for a dog which is full of enthusiasm, which is active, alert, which wants to be happy and play around. This is the temperament that the Beagle will carry from when it's a puppy to when it's old. This is the temperament the pet owner must be ready to keep, must be ready to give time to before it goes for a dog like a Beagle. I really don't know whether that is important for the pet owner, but as an advisor, as someone who's had Beagles for maybe 35 years now, I feel that this aspect of its temperament must be kept in mind. So if pet parents are looking for a small dog that is easy to keep, go in for the Beagle. But please be reminded that it's an active dog. It's not a couch potato. It doesn't want to spend its day sitting on a sofa or sleeping on its bed without much activity. Give it that 45 minutes to 1 hour, romp in the garden, take it for a walk, give it exercise, let it be free. Then you have a good Beagle at hand. If you don't do that, then all that pent up energy, all the activity in the head is going to turn destructive. And that is an aspect which we will talk of once we go in to discuss trainability. For the time being, we are talking of a small dog. It can be a tricolor, which look very pretty. It can be any of the bicolors that I suggested. It has to be sturdy. It has to be strong. When you're looking for a puppy, look at the parents. Don't get a weedy, thin, fine-boned Beagle, because that's not what its purpose is. It's a strong dog, filled up under the chest, strong and bony, with good width in the hind, good width on the loin, so that it can perform its function. And then you have a healthy dog is easier to train than an unhealthy dog. I have always believed. And get yourself a puppy that is sturdy. Get yourself a Beagle that is Beagle in all its manifestations, in its size, in its appearance, in its color, in its temperament. Then enjoy the dog for the average Beagle life, I say 12 to 13 years. Some are good. Mine have been up to 15. But yes, it's a long-lived dog, and it's a great companion for children. It's I think it's one of the best that we can get as far as families are concerned. Which brings me to the next point. Are they good for apartments? Are they good for indoors? As long as you give your dog, if it's a German Shepherd or a Labrador or a Saint Bernard or a Chihuahua or a Beagle, as long as you're giving your dog enough opportunity to release its energy. Imagine a situation, you're living in an apartment, you're feeding top quality kibble, high protein, and then the dog has nothing to do. What are you going to do with that protein? Unless it's burnt. So if you're able to give your dog time, give it exercise, then yes, the Beagle is beautiful for indoors. Which brings me to another aspect, which pet parents particularly keep in mind when, hello Vivek, I see Ranita Gopalan, hello. and Girjesh Bajaj. Hello, sir. Thank you for tuning in. Nice to have you here. Yeah, so what I was saying is if you give time and let the energy be burned, it's beautiful for indoors. And this brings me to the aspect which pet parents always keep in mind: hypoallergenic. Many of us today, with growing pollution, suffer from allergies. I do. And the best way is to bring in an animal that is hypoallergenic. Now, in my experience, and I don't want to start a controversy, but this is just my opinion, there is no dog which is 100% hypoallergenic. But there are a few that are more suitable for people who have allergy problems. The Beagle might not be 100% hypoallergenic, but it is, because the shedding is not as much as many other breeds. And therefore, I recommend, I've had them inside the house all these years, and I recommend Beagle as a safe dog for people with allergies. Hello, Ravi Shankarji. Hello, Mona Lisa. So I recommend a Beagle for people who have allergy problems. Please consult the breeder to see if there's any particular skin problem that family or the bloodlines carries. If that is so, avoid, but otherwise it's easy. Sapna Mera, about Maltese. Oh, Sapna, not today. We are going to do Beagles today, Maltese some other day. Hello, Joel Bhatti. Hello. Yes, next, we are going to talk about health. For about 30 to 40 years, starting in 1960, 1970, 1980, when a lot of research was being done on veterinary science and new medications, the Beagles were, in fact, one of the dogs that were used to test a lot of medicines. And there was a big lobby to suggest that we were being very cruel to the Beagles. We were not suggesting that it should be the Beagles. It was the pharma companies who found that the breed is very sturdy. It is long-lived. It is internally strong. And so it was used to test the medication. The net result was that people have established beyond doubt that it is one of the healthier animals, one of the healthier dogs. Hello, Dog Spot. Hello, Sulba. So every breed of dog has some sort of health problem associated with it. And the Beagle too. But the nature of the health problems is easier to manage than others. What are the health problems that a Beagle has, in my experience? And I'm happy to listen to anybody else if they have any other views to express. Hello, Francis. Francis is my friend, and she's an all-breeds judge in Argentina. And it's nice to see she's listening to us. Yes, skin problems. They have a few, but they are more related to the upkeep, to the grooming, than something inherently amongst Beagles. The only thing that I find which is probably inherited in the breed is the care of the ears. Because they have large ears, thick lather, and pendulous, we have problems of mites, ear infections, which are seen more often than others in the breed. So that is an area of concern. I have had about over maybe 40 to 50 Beagles in all these years, and the percentage of ear infections has been maybe 8 to 10%, maybe even 12%. And I found that, the pitches, surprisingly, that I had were more prone to this. It could be just a matter of chance, but that was my experience, than the others. So, yes, ear problems, definitely. I have not had any experience of digestive problems like in. Oh, thank you. I have not had any problem related to digestion like in the German Shepherd, which has a very sensitive digestion. But it's strong digestion. It's like the Labrador, always hungry. It can digest and eat virtually everything. I've had them on kibble, I've had them on fresh food, I've had them on treats, and they seem to be doing fine as far as their digestion is concerned. I have not had a problem with the eyes. Unfortunately, in India, we don't do too many eye tests. Yes, Varsha Rajgopal mentions ears. I'll come, Rod fella, I'll come back to showing beagles without grooming. And Musarrat wants to know tip of the tail. Yes, I will once we discuss the breed. So no, I've not had too much of problem with the eye, but overall, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, the beagle health-wise is 7 and above. Easy to groom, easy to keep the coat clean. If you care for the eyes and care for the ears, no problem at all. Few anal gland problems because it's got short coat. It's very easy to brush, and it's a sturdy, muscular dog, so I don't foresee too many health issues as far as the beagle is concerned. Let me take a question here. Musarrat, yes, we are going back to Musarrat's question, and Musarrat's question relates to the appearance. It's actually part of the origin and part of the appearance. So let's take this question. Musarrat wants to know about the tip of the tail. Now, the tip of the tail of a beagle, regardless of whether it's a tricolor or a bicolor or a piebald or blue, should be white. And what is the reason that the tip of the tail should be white? Very simple. In the undergrowth, in the bush, when you send your beagle out to hunt, because it will be hunting for rabbits or hare, it has to hunt in burrows, it has to hunt in grasslands, etc. So when you send in your beagle to hunt, if the undergrowth or the grass is 15 to 20 inches high, the hunter tends to lose his dog. What is the distinct feature that the beagle will be able to show to its hunter to determine the location is the tip of the tail. Now this portion of the tail, about 3 inches towards the top end is white. So when the beagle is in the bush, its tail is up, wagging, and the tip of the tail white shines from out inside. It's the only distinct part that is visible. And that is why the beagle is often called cotton tips. Cotton tip is just to describe the white on the tail. An essential feature, and so essential as a matter of fact that when we are judging them, we would tend to penalize a dog which does not have white tip on the tail. It is a distinct feature of the breed. So thank you, Musarrat, for your question. I will come to the other question about showing without grooming when we actually do the grooming part. So let's move on to the next one. Temperament. Endless topic as far as beagles are concerned. It just goes on and on and on. What is a beagle's temperament? Beautifully described by a beagler in the US. It says it is independent. It's an independent dog. Independent means it has a mind of its own. But that doesn't mean that it's not trainable. It's not an untrainable breed. It's got a mind of its own, and that is what you need to leverage, that is what you need to catch on to actually use to train the dog to use its scenting ability to its advantage. So let's use some of the words that are often described. It's a smart dog, it's a fun dog, it's a fun-loving dog, it's an independent dog, it gives you pleasure, it wants to be active, so many things. And those are all things which are good for a pet parent. It makes Beagle a good fancy family pet. Because you don't want a pet that is dull, you don't want a dog that is not smart, you don't want a dog that's not loving, and you don't want a dog that is dull or dumb or stupid. So you want it alert, active, and using the word independent means that ready to do things that it's trained to do. So Shiven Varma, droopy and flappy ears. Yeah, we call them pendulous. Yes, they flap, as I explained. They pull with the help of the air, they pull the scent up, and that's what helps them do their business. Hello, Anjali. Yes, so that is what. So it's somewhere I was reading, there's a beautiful word. It describes the temperament of the Beagle. Nervous energy. Nervous energy is what this breed is all about. Because it's always wanting to do something. Shiven Varma says it came from Greece to Britain. Yes, the Greeks would like to believe that, but the British say they had scent hounds even before that. So let them each enjoy their glory. It's good for us to know that they both had Beagles, and our present day Beagle has descended from that lot. I think that's good enough. Okay. Barb Stone. She says, my dad used to train Beagles, a delightful breed. He also judged field trials and dog shows. That's great to know, and it's nice to know that we all miss our parents, Barb, and yes, thank you for the question. Thank you. Shiven Varma wants to know, what should be the average weight of 8-month-old Beagle? Oh, that is a difficult question to answer because it depends on two things. One, whether it's the 13-inch variety or the 15-inch variety, and two, whether it's a dog or a bitch. So, depending on these two, you'll have but an 8-month Beagle is a fairly well-grown Beagle. Beagles get into their size and get into maturity by 9 or 10 months. In my experience, I have not seen Beagles gain too much of height or bone after 9 or 10 months of age. So whatever is the weight on the bone, whatever is the weight on the skeleton, should have already come by the time that the puppy is 8 months old. And whatever weight variation you will get after that is because it depends on the quality of muscle and the amount of fat that you're able to put on the puppy. So the body weight at 8 or 9 months should be about 30% less than the adult weight of a Beagle. That's my take on it, Shiven. Okay, so we are moving on. I was talking to a friend who's a dog trainer in Romania, and he said that he followed a very, very different system of training the Beagles. What is the system? He says that, I keep them leashed for the first 4 months, even inside the house, which I found strange. But he says that's the only way that I'm able to tell them to follow me and be my shadow for the first 4 or 5 months that they are getting accustomed to their new family, to their surroundings. And that sort of trains them to understand our ways and our routines. All of us who bring in a pet home think that the first thing to do is to let it be, explore the house, be part of our surroundings. But but there's a different view. He says, no, that's not the best way to do for a beagle. The beagle should be trained to be on a leash even inside the house for the first 3 or 4 months. And then later, when you start taking it out for a walk, it should be on the leash for at least a year. So, abroad, not in India, when you go to the commons or the parks, people tend to off-leash their dogs, which we don't do in India because we don't have the same, awareness. But he says that for beagles, even when you go out, don't off-leash for at least 1 year. So that's something that was new to me, and it was interesting that the training of the beagle can be slightly different from the training of the other dogs. Ranita Gopalan, my beagle has these itchy patches which come and go, concentrated on the back, and tufts of hair come out from those regions. Ranita, this would be best answered by a vet. I presume you need to get a culture done of the skin on why the hair is falling out in tufts, because that is a sign of some sort of a deficiency. If the hair is falling out in tufts, that means the follicle is not strong enough, it doesn't have strong roots, and that has to be some sort of, could be a food allergy. This is my opinion, but I think you need to get a skin culture done to be able to check that. Sorry, I'll take a few questions because we don't want to miss these. Please say something more about blue tricolor beagles. Blue tricolor beagles. It's actually just the saddle. The tricolor beagle is tricolor because it's got three basic colors: the black, the tan, and the white. The tan is, interspersed. The white has particular places where it is on the tip of the tail, on the limbs, on the belly. There'll be no white on, or shouldn't be, for the sake of appearance, on the saddle. Now the blue is just the replacement of the black on the saddle, and the tricolor blue, you'll find that the blue predominantly comes in those places where a normal tricolor has black. You won't find blue replacing the white or the tan. So it's more or less like a normal tricolor. That I had one or two, but not too many. I don't know if we have enough tricolor blues in India. At least I haven't seen, but it's very interesting. And it's that shining, beautiful blue gray, and they look quite lovely. They look quite lovely. I have a 1 year, 2 month beagle. What is the solution for hair fall? As I said just now, Kadambari, the hair fall is diet or allergy related. It's not a breed that sheds too much of coat. So if your beagles are shedding too much of coat, you're either not feeding the right diet, or there's some sort of allergy, or perhaps you're not grooming it correctly. I am not sure how often you're bathing it, what shampoo you're using, or what brush you're using, but beagles normally should not be shedding too much of coat, and definitely not in tufts, as was suggested. My dear friend, Mr. Mukul Vaid, hello, sir. Itching and hair loss problem, another question from Dipali Brahma. I'm surprised that we are getting so many questions about itching, because it's not a breed. Get a protein test done. Is there a protein allergy? Maybe your chicken or your kibble has too much of protein, and if it's not burnt, there could be a protein allergy. I suggest you get a protein allergy done. Does the color difference of being bicolor and tricolor have any significance to the topic discussed? No. The short answer is no. No beagle should be differentiated or discriminated upon based on its color. It's a hound, it's got a function to perform, and regardless of its color, it's got beautiful temperament. It's loving, it's smart, it's alert. These things have nothing to do with the color. Even when we are judging in a show, a conformation show, we judge regardless of the color. As a matter of fact, it's one breed which is divided on size and not divided on color. There are some breeds like the Great Dane where the piebald is divided on color. The Harlequin is judged separately, but not in the case of Beagles. So absolutely no, it should have no impact on the quality of the Beagle. Okay, we are moving on. I was, for the pet parent, I had something interesting. I was wanting to send it across as a question, but I'm not sure if, live sessions have this possibility of asking you a question. What are the 6 most famous Beagles in the world? For the pet parent. There is a gentleman whose name is written in Bengali. He's talking of a sexy look. Now, I do not know what he intends to say, but let it pass. So, what are the 6 most famous Beagles in the world today? Everybody knows Snoopy. Everybody knows Odie. Some of the best cartoon characters, and on whom films have been made as well, are absolutely they have all the qualities of the Beagle. They can be aloof, they can be snooty, they can be naughty, and still the most loving and ready to give amongst all the breeds. So when you look at the cartoon the next time, when you look at Odie, for example, look at the things that they do. It's a beautiful representation of the Beagle itself. And you'll be able to find out why the cartoon character has been built in such a fashion, bringing in the qualities of the Beagle. Zohaib Zaman. Today, when I look at the pedigrees of Beagles, I see they all go back to Ratan Bela or your Aussie imports. You're responsible for modern Beagles in India. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, my friend Mr. Ved and me, we decided to get Beagles about 35 years ago. He imported a beautiful one from England, and I got this beautiful bitch from Australia and one from New Zealand. And yes, those two did turn out to be the foundation of many Beagles. Of course, times have changed, and now we have beautiful American dogs. But I don't have one particular favorite dog, Zoeb, but there are many, and I always find that I prefer the European Beagle or the Australian Beagle. The American Beagle is a little fine for me. It doesn't have all the angles that I personally like in a Beagle, and despite we getting the half-brother of the West End show at the Westminster, I still do prefer to go in for the European Beagle. Beautiful heads, beautiful ears, and much more my type than the very, very short-coupled Beagles that have come in from America. So, but that's a personal choice. Okay, there's another question from Satish Madhuriviran. Since we have more of American bloodline in India, more of American type dogs winning, should we stick to American bloodlines, or is it worth introducing to European lines? I've answered that question, Satish. If you find that you have all the qualities that you're looking for in the American line, stick to it. But I'm not sure if you'll be able to produce the angles, the bone, the depth of chest, the shape of the brisket, the rib cage, if you continue to stick to the American lines, because they are gradually getting weedy. And I have great friends in the US, some from very senior Beagle breeders, and they themselves feel that it's time now to get in some angles in the front and the rear. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Americans get in some European dogs. And my friend Jed Chua in Philippines has some very nice ones, although they're American, but very nice and typey. And Pirapong, my friend in Thailand, has some lovely ones. So look there, and you'll find very nice ones. Okay, So, what are we moving on to? We are moving on to diet and exercise. Interesting. Feed a beagle as much as you want, it'll eat. They are prone to get fat. Don't let that happen. The diet of a beagle has to be, in my personal opinion, I don't feed anything but kibble. And unless it is top quality chicken, if I do feed top quality chicken, I feed it along with rice. So it's either the rice chicken diet or the kibble diet. And the beagles that I've had have absolutely flourished with both these diets. But as I said, I feed them twice a day. I have never moved my dogs to a single feed regime. I feed my dogs twice a day, and so should you all who have beagles. But never ever overfeed. They are prone to get fat and they become lethargic, they lose their energy, and it's really not nice to see a beagle who's not fit enough to go and hunt in the grass. So, whenever you are fixing your dog's diet and determining how much to feed and fixing the quantities, my formula in all these years of dog feeding has been very simple. You kill your dog if you overfeed. You don't kill your dog if you underfeed. It's the easiest thing to find out from your dog's appearance that it's being underfed. But it's never easy to find out from a fat dog that it's being overfed, because once it's fat, it just doesn't show how much fatter it's getting. So please don't overfeed. Kibble, rice and chicken. For those who are vegetarian, mix of pulses, vegetables. I feed carrots, peas, what do you call it? Pumpkin works fine for me. And if you're feeding kibble, there's no supplement required. And if you're not feeding kibble, then you definitely need to add supplements. But I do not feel there's too much of need for, loading it with calcium. I mean supplements, because you might need to give some glucosamine, or you might need to give some chondroitin for the bones and the muscles as the dogs get older, but nothing else. So the diet is very simple. They are easy to feed as long as the food has aroma. As long as you're able to entice the beagle, the scent hound, with aroma, it'll eat. And mind the weight. Don't let your beagles get fat. If they get fat, they develop problems in their hind legs, and one problem will lead to another. Exercise. The ideal exercise, a free romp in the garden. 25 minutes to 30 minutes. In India, do this before the 15th of April and start again after the 15th of September. For the summer months, exercise them inside. Probably get a treadmill, or just let them run around inside the house, or take them for a early morning walk. But your exercise is an absolute must. Keep it on the leash. It's a wanderer. Hounds are wanderers. They lose themselves in scent. That is what they're bred for. So if you're taking your beagle out for a walk, and the poor little creature insists on putting its head down in the grass and sniffing at everything, and you keep tugging at the leash to say, behave yourself, well, you're unfair to its basic instinct. It's a hound, it's a scent hound, it wants to smell. So love that bit about your beagle, let it smell, and learn to walk it at its pace. Because It's not a dog which will carry its head high, and it's not a sight hound, it's not a shepherd, it's not a working dog. It's a scent hound. It'll always smell in the ground. So don't kill that instinct. I lost a question. Please comment on genetic disorder in Beagle like factor 7 deficiency, IGS syndrome, NCCD syndrome during selection of puppy or adult dog. Mr. Atul Patil, it's a very good question, but I don't know from where you've got such technical things, factor 7 deficiency, IGS syndrome. Most of the pet owners are looking and believing the breeder from whom they are picking up the puppy, and that's how it should be. The kind of tests that you have put in are not available in most parts of the country, and if they are pretty expensive. My point is, why do you want to do an NCCD syndrome test? I mean, what is the objective? The tests that you must carry on the puppy that you are acquiring should be in line with what you want to do with the puppy. As long as you have a veterinary health certificate, as long as the basic vaccines are clear, and as long as the breeder is responsible and honest and tells you that his lines don't have heart or eye diseases, you should be okay. If you subject yourself to all these tests, I don't think there's any breeder in India or in most parts of the world that will give you a Beagle puppy with all these test certificates. So it's good to have these tests done, but only if they are needed. In my personal opinion, it's being overcautious. Okay. Bipin Parmar. What is the best food for beagles? As I said, Tanvi Verma, the best food for beagles is both kibble and fresh rice chicken, and for vegetarian homes, some sort of one cereal you can choose, whether it's wheat or rice, and then mix it with pulses and vegetables and everything. Sitaram ji, good evening, sir. For all my viewers, I have known Sitaram ji now for 40 years. And he's one of the best that we've had. He's a fantastic trainer and handler, settled in Bangalore, and it's always a pleasure to talk to him. The working ability of this breed. Yes, sir, I was planning to come to it in trainability. The working ability of this breed is tremendous. It is now being used because of its scenting ability in a lot of customs offices all over the world. It is being used as a scent hound in police work. It is being used as a scent hound in narcotics. It is being used now, I am told, when all of us are suffering COVID. It is now being used in the UK to detect COVID cases as well. So the scenting ability and working ability as a scent hound of the Beagle is unmatched, and the size favors it. And I have had my own Beagle, which had a fantastic nose. Unfortunately, we don't have too many avenues for using this, but the working ability for scenting is tremendous. I have also, incidentally, seen a lot of Beagles being used now in agility. I don't know how they're able to manage that, but I saw a live agility in South Africa when I was judging there, and I was amazed at the capacity of this little Beagle to perform an agility test in competition with most of the breeds that are bred for this purpose, and it did a tremendous job. I also recall, if I'm not wrong, seeing a companion dog performance by the Beagle. It was a lady and her dog who performed a beautiful dance. What do you call it? I forget the word, but a dance performance, and it was beautifully choreographed. So yes, the ability of the Beagle to perform scent, to perform agility, to perform narcotics is very nice. It's amongst the top. And anybody who's looking to acquire a dog for those purposes, you can definitely look at a Beagle. Anand Vishwanath joined a little late and not sure if it has already been covered. Quite a few hounds like foxhounds and harriers look very similar to the Beagle except for the height. Yes, Anand, we have already spoken about this in the beginning. The uh, the British feel that the Beagle has descended from the Foxhound, and there are some other Beaglers who believe that the Foxhound was developed out of the Beagle. And there are some other people in the UK who believe that the earliest Spaniels and Setters were used to make this breed, the Beagle. So a little ambiguous, but yes, the foxhound does figure predominantly either as a precursor or either as an ancestor or as a product of the Beagle. Ranita Gopalan says we bought a zoo. The Beagle was named Leo. Yes, you absolutely. It can be a joker. It can be a companion. It can be a performer. It can be just a lazy. Yes, it's everything there in that little dog. So yes, you did buy a zoo, but as I said, it's not untrainable. It's all within your willpower to give it time and to use its alert mind, to use its scenting ability to be your well-trained beagle. Okay. Beagle means spreading smiles. Yes, it does, sir. Absolutely, it means spreading smiles. Okay, there are lots of questions coming. I can't take. What about vegetables, Anuradha Gupta? Yes, as I said, you can give vegetables. You can give carrots and peaches and beans and pumpkin and potatoes and everything. No problem. We do in the summer months. It's easy. Okay, Gibson Sequera. Also, is it recommended to do any health tests on a regular basis? I don't know, Gibson, if it's recommended to do health tests. I have always felt that if your vaccines are up to date, there is no real need to do health tests unless you're having problems in digestion, problems in musculature, problems in eyes. Then keep the tartar, keep the teeth clean. Don't let any teeth go bad because tartar formation can lead to heart disease. That has been established. So if your dog's teeth are clean, I don't see too much of a problem and I don't see any need to do regular tests. How often do you reckon we need to bathe our beagles and what shampoo do you recommend? I wouldn't recommend any shampoo because that's not what I want to do in particular, but any mild shampoo, because it's not a long coated breed. You don't want too much of silkiness in the coat. So a mild shampoo will do. And in the summer months here in North India, I bathe my dogs once a week. So yes, in the winters maybe once a fortnight, but in the summer months once a week, and a mild shampoo that will cleanse the coat, but you don't want too much of a silky texture. That's not natural to the beagle, to have too much of a silky texture on the coat. So that's what I feel you should do as far as the shampooing is concerned. Kristen Dickens says, my beagle was just diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. Yes. Yes, that is, it is now happening. It's happening in boxers. It always happened in dachshunds. It's now becoming a problem in boxers as well as in Dobermans. And now you say that your beagle too. I have had similar problems, not the degenerative disc disease, but I have had similar problems of chronic kidney failure in a few lines of the beagles that we used to have. And it would come as early as 3 to 4 years. So the homeopathic medicine helped, but that's not a permanent solution. Yes, it is becoming a problem, the disc disease as well as the chronic kidney failure in the beagles. But I presume that's some sort of a test we'll have to do to see which particular gene element from which line is leading to this, and then probably discontinue breeding from those lines. But I am so sorry to hear that your dog's been diagnosed with this. How should be eyes in a black tricolor, blue tricolor, or bicolor beagle? Gulshan Redstones. Sir, it's a very simple rule. The beagle should not have light eyes. The beagle, regardless of its color, should be a dark-eyed dog, simply because the darker the eye, the more benign, the more loving, the more soft the expression. And that is fundamental to the expression of a beagle. So, hazel to dark brown, and the darker the better is my single word answer for the color of the eye. Kuntal Divatia says, my beagle has thyroid, so he's gaining weight. No, sir, I cannot suggest any medicine. That only the vet can suggest. But I presume as long as he's walking and you're controlling his diet, that's the only thing you do apart from his thyroid medication. But be careful, sir. Thyroid in dogs doesn't limit itself to just weight gain. You are one particular case where you'll have to go in for tests regularly, because thyroid in dogs leads to complications of the kidney, of the liver, and you should get these tests done regularly is my suggestion to you. How many times should we feed beagle puppy? Tushar Vishwakarma. Any puppy, sir, from the age of 6 weeks till the age of about 12 weeks, ideally should be fed small quantities of food 4 to 5 times a day. And as the puppy grows older, we reduce the number of feeds from 4 to 3. And at about 6 months of age, we normally bring our dogs down to 2 feeds a day. So that's the routine you should follow for the beagle, as we do for every other breed. Okay. Thanks for answering. Are blue tick beagles and the other recognized colors advisable to have in India? Steve Fernandez. Of course they are, sir. The more the merrier. The tick is actually the tick beetle which you're talking about, sir, is actually the mottle. The mottle is that ticking which you find, and you'll find it in every type of beagle, including the tricolor. The only beagle in which you don't find the mottle is the white. And don't be surprised, yes, there are white beagles. And it's a recognized color. So, yes, the mottling or the ticking, as you say, please get those lines. They are very nice. Hounds can be naturally ticked, so it should have no impact in the show ring. Mr. Harinder Olak, good evening, sir. As a judge, what's your preference, an American type or English type? Harinder ji, I mentioned this a few minutes ago. I do find that the American dogs are now beginning to lack angles in the front and the back, and they are becoming too square. To my mind, in my opinion, it's not a square dog. You need a little bit of length, the ratio from height to length. We need a little bit of length, and I prefer the angles on the European dogs. So it's a clear choice. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about it. Okay. My 8-month-old beagle is 11 kgs. Is that fine? Yes, more or less fine. It's more or less fine if it's 11 kgs. I would say so. I haven't seen a picture of him, but yeah, it's fine. My beagle puppy 7-week bites a lot and growls at it if we don't let him bite us. No, it's not ferocious, Varsha. Puppies don't bite. Puppies trying to gnaw. Puppies have teething problems. They have sensation in the gums, so they try to chew at things that come in their way. It's neither ferocious nor is it wanting to bite you. You need to be firm as a trainer when the puppy comes in to teach that this is not acceptable. The newspaper ploy works best, and I don't see any problem as long as the puppy learns what is acceptable to you and what is not acceptable to you. Give it a old sock or an old toy to gnaw at, and by the time 3.5 months, when the teething problem gets over, or 4 months, you will find that this chewing tendency is gone away. Okay. Can you please tell me why dew clause issues are more often seen? Is it bloodline related or is it okay to have them? Oh, Satish, dew clause. Very simple. Any dog that is a working dog, whether it's a shepherd that is herding, whether it's a working dog that is guarding, or whether it is a spaniel or a setter or a retriever or a hound, regardless of the type of work that they are having to do, the terrain that they work in can sometimes cause injury if the dew claws are left intact. And that is the only reason why dew claws are removed. Because if this extra thumb, this is the dew claw. So when it's in the rough or it's in a rocky terrain, it this could get caught, and that can be very painful injury, because if an adult dew claws gets ripped off, then it can be extremely painful, and that is the reason why we recommend. My friend Sarah Chasen Neely from America. Hello, Sarah. Nice to have you here. And we shall be talking about boxers. Sarah has bred my boxer. So we shall be talking about boxers on Sunday. Can you say this about Labrador, sir? I'm sorry, Guru Charanji, we are not talking of Labradors today. Labrador some other day. I'm sure we'll have a top expert from amongst my friends talking about Labradors to you. My Beagle has suddenly put on weight from 15 to 18.5 kilos in the last 6 months. Could it be thyroid? I really can't answer that. Priyanka, I can't answer that question because that only a thyroid test can tell you. But it could also be diet related. Get it checked all the same, but try and hold back some food and see if it makes any difference. Okay, what else is there? My Beagle has kibble only with treats. Satyajit Gopalan. Sir, I'm sorry I'm saying this, and my apologies to all the uh, people who consider their pets to be part of their family. They all are, but then we must teach our family to do things as they should be done. And this is nothing but a behavioral tactic. Skip a meal. Skip a meal. Simple. If she doesn't eat once, skip it. If she doesn't eat twice, skip it. She will eat. Your pet is not supposed to turn into a headache. It's supposed to be a pleasure. So please don't keep giving treats in the kibble. The kibble is well balanced. It's got the aroma. It's got the food qualities that a dog requires. So let it be on kibble alone. Vignesh Ramakrishnan, we have really tall beagles in the ring nowadays. What's the ideal height on withers? The ideal height of a beagle, sir, is 15 inches for the 15-inch variety, half an inch here or there between male and female, and 13-inch for the 13-inch variety, again half an inch here or there for the male or female. Gibson Sequera says, considering the love to sniff, what kind of games or activities do you recommend? Lovely question. Now we are talking about using the ability of your dog and giving it pleasure in what it loves to do. So yes, teach it to sniff out goodies. Teach it to sniff out its toys. Teach it to sniff out and make it use its sense of smell. There are so many games that we do. You know, the police training squad uses handkerchiefs, uses toys which have a particular smell given to them, and then the dog is supposed to identify. Use all that. Absolutely easy. Okay. Hello, Ratan. Hello, how are you? Good evening, Ratan. Nice to see you here. So I think unless we are over an hour and 10 minutes into this, and this is a topic which can go on and on and on, but we all have our times to give to other things, and so with a heavy heart, I think we must now close the session for the day, and keep sending us your questions. Keep asking us. We shall at DogSpot, and I'm doing this purely for DogSpot. So let the people who are seeing us know that DocSpot is now thinking of doing breed-specific sessions on a regular basis, where we plan to bring in people who are involved with specific breeds and get their viewpoint. So keep tuned in, and I'd like to thank the back-end team of Rana, Saloni, and Karan for this lovely show. And I think it's, I'm sorry I can't answer all these questions because we are beyond 10 minutes beyond time already. But it's such a pleasure to have been with you here today. And thank you so much to all my friends from all over the world. And we shall catch up soon. Stay safe, stay indoors, and bye-bye.